David here with Figboot on pens, back again with another fountain pen review. I know I say this a lot, but one of the things I really enjoy about the fountain pen hobby is making new discoveries. A while ago, I was contacted by a company that was new to me by the name of Stex, and they asked if I would care to take a look at one of their pens. I said yes, and so that's what I have for you today. As I mentioned, it is a pen from the Indian brand Stex, and it is called the D'magno. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of this pen, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Stex for providing this pen for review. As I mentioned, Stex is based out of India in a town on the west coast called Gujarat. The company is run by the husband and wife team of Nandesh and Jinga Shah. The name Stex is a portmanteau of the parent company of the brand, which is a company by the name of Star Exium. A portmanteau is when you take the parts of two different words and to create a new one, like motor and hotel make motel. Actually, back in the day, a portmanteau was a handheld suitcase that opened into two equal compartments, which makes sense when it's used combining words like that. So in this case, they take the ST from the word star and EX from Exium, making Stex. The pen arrives in this box. The lid lifts off, and inside we have a few things. There is a polishing cloth. There is some warranty information. There is some marketing information, which I'll discuss more about in a bit. And then we have a pen. If I could hold it right. Let's get this all over here. This is the Stex D'magno. That's D''Magno. It kind of reminds me slightly of a thicker cross-century. The pen is made from pure copper, which is 99.95% copper. They claim they're the only pen manufacturer using pure copper. Now, I'm not certain how they could know that. Out of curiosity, I reached out to a couple of my manufacturing friends who also produce copper pens, and both of them use copper alloys. They say it's because the alloy is easier to machine. So Stex might be the only one using pure copper, but who knows? It might just be a marketing message saying that, you're the only one doing something. From my research, there's no discernible benefit of using pure copper as opposed to an alloy. Speaking of marketing, there are some things I wanted to discuss about how they're marketing their pens, but before I do that and go off on a bit of a tangent, let's take a closer look at this pen here. They offer their copper pens in two different finishes, one like this one, which will tarnish over time, and another version with an anti-tarnish coating. The top of the pen is adorned with a copper finial and is flat. And then we have the clip. It has the company name, and above that, at first glance, it just appeared to me to be 3 lines, but upon closer examination, it's a stylized S. The clip is rather stiff and a bit of a challenge to use even in thinner fabrics. The cap is straight until you get to the end where there is a copper band devoid of any markings. Then there is a small step down from the cap to the barrel, which is straight until you reach the end where you have this end piece where you will find some posting threads and an angled step down which is rounded and flat. The cap twists off in just under 2 rotations, and underneath we have a number 6 stainless steel Schmidt nib. This nib is available in fine, medium, and broad. And here's a look at the plastic feed. This section is interesting. It angles up at an even rate of incline and is grooved, and then we have some blocky threads and a small step up to the barrel. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges and a converter is provided. With the all-metal construction of this pen, eyedropping would not be recommended. This pen is very comfortable in the hand. I do like the grooves on the section. They do a good job of helping you maintain a solid grip. Despite being made of metal, I wouldn't describe this as overly heavy. I believe the heaviest pen I have in my collection is an all copper pen from Karas Customs, and that pen weighs almost 3 times as much as this one. The Karas comes in at about 120 grams, and this pen here comes in at about 50. The cap twists to post, and it is rather easy to post. And something that I like is that there is a single posting thread, and when posted, the clip aligns directly with the nib. It's a nice attention to detail. While having this metal cap posted doesn't overly backweight the pen in my opinion, I do find the edge of the cap here to be a bit on the sharp side, and I'm not fond of it when it rubs up against the inside of my hand when writing, so I prefer to use this pen unposted. Okay, let's talk about the marketing angle the company has chosen for their pens. While it is an agreed upon medical knowledge that copper is a very important part of the minerals found inside of our bodies, the benefits of copper jewelry or holding copper are not widely recognized within the mainstream medical community. The marketing for Stex pens really leans heavily into those beliefs. Here's a quote from their site. "A magical wand with a healing touch, flowing elegantly with all its purity like the stream of Ganges, regulating the stream of blood of its masters, strengthening the bones, controlling heartbeats. It is a new age armor for those who value the luxury called life." Now, that's a bit of marketing speak, but in the materials included with the pen, it lists some reported benefits of copper. Now, I don't propose to be a medical expert, but from my limited research, the things listed here like regulating blood pressure and strengthening bones are benefits of the copper inside your body, not necessarily benefits of holding or being in contact with copper. I had to chuckle a bit with the footnote at the bottom, the information source being listed as Google. Unless you're in fact getting this information directly from Google, Google is a search engine that you would use to find data on other sites around the web. So those other sites would be listed as the information source, not Google. If you look online, you can find plenty of sites touting the benefits of copper. I found one site which purported that holding copper would cure you of COVID. But those sites aren't necessarily tied to licensed medical practitioners. It's one of those things that if you believe in something, chances are you can find someone online that will confirm those beliefs. In the grand scheme of things, this has nothing to do with the pen itself, so I want to make that a clear distinction. The Stex D'magno fountain pen is available directly from the Stex website and retails for $210. Shipping to the US from India is only $25, so that's not too bad in regard to shipping cost. In regard to the price of the pen, I don't feel that it's out of line, but I do feel it's right on the high end of what I feel the value proposition is for this particular model. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and some discussion about cleaning and the maintenance of this pen, and a writing sample. Okay, here we go with some size comparisons for the Stex D'magno. In regard to a couple of other copper pens, I mentioned the one from Karas Customs. This is a copper pen that I've had for a while, and like I said, it's the heaviest one in my collection. You can see how it is tarnished over time. Then this one is the Italia model from Inso. And then finally here is a Schoen Design Pocket 6. In regard to some non-copper pens, here it is with a Lamy Safari and a TWSBI Eco, and here it is with a Diplomat Aero. In regard to uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Karas Custom Ink and the Lamy Safari and the Diplomat Aero. Okay, before we get to the writing sample, a little bit about the care and maintenance of this pen. Since this will tarnish, that if you don't want it to fully tarnish and keep it looking a little bit nicer, you will need to polish it. I will say I was a little disappointed because this is nice that they include a polishing cloth with it, but it's not one that's treated. So any polishing that you do on here is not going to get rid of the tarnish on here. For that, you need more of a jewelry cleaner and polishing cloth. And these are specially treated. And let's see, I know that it's harder to see here. You can see I've done some polishing in here. But let me go ahead, and this is actually tarnished a little bit. You can see in here that it has tarnished a little bit since I've received the pen. It started off in this particular color. But let's go ahead and do a little time lapse here, and let me go ahead and polish this and see if I can get it to look a little bit newer and nicer. Okay, you can see here that it did clean it up a considerable amount, especially here at the end. Looks significantly more polished. So with the correct polishing cloth, it will just take a little bit of maintenance in order to keep your pens looking the way you would like them to look. So here we have, and you can actually see, I didn't polish the section there. You can see how that is tarnished as well. So we have the Stex. And this is the D'magno, which is D''D'magno. And this is a medium stainless steel nib. And the ink that I'm using is Private Reserve Copper Burst. This is what the ink looks like. It's one of my favorite Private Reserve inks. I really like the copper color, and then it has a lot of shading and sheening to it. Here is another one of my favorite kind of coppers, which is Diamine Ancient Copper. And then here it is with the Leonardo Noce Moscata. This is what the Private Reserve bottles look like. They're not super deep, but they do have a very large mouth on them, so you can get just about any nib in here at all. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. We did have a little bit of railroading there as I was pushing it. I do enjoy Schmidt nibs. I think that they are a bit underrated. If I try pushing it, I do get a little bit of railroading there, but just when you're pushing it. Under normal writing situations, the ink flow is fine. The ink flow is decent here. In regard to reverse writing, it's a little scratchy. I'd say very scratchy. And then in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up well. So it just wasn't keeping up as well when I was trying to push it or go fast. You can see it railroads a little bit, but under normal writing situations, it's just fine. So there is the Stex D'magno. It's an interesting copper offering, and it's always interesting to learn about some new brands. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.